Hey everyone, Eric's back here. Today we're going to look at a steel delivery, and what we really want to do here is inventory it against our material list that we provide you. Don't inventory against what the steel manufacturer is actually providing in paperwork versus what they have. Use the one that we provide you because that's going to match up with what you need on your building. So if I look first here, some things to point out is you'll see on every stack of steel, you'll notice a cover sheet. Typically they'll just write on the sheet that it says cover sheet, and you'll notice typically stickers on it. Just know that if that's a different color, you can kind of see below there's a red panel. Don't panic that that's not the color you ordered, it's just a cover sheet, and below that should be the colors that you have selected for your building. Also, you'll notice on some of these stacks is a lift point. And these are just a point where it's telling you that's roughly the center of where all the weight of the stack is. Since you have varying lengths of panels, the center of that weight, the balance of it, is not typically centered. They'll actually have more of the weight to one side versus the other. So they're telling you here, if you're going to be using a forklift to lift this, center up that equipment with this sticker arrow roughly here too. And I'd always suggest, going in, go nice and slow, and then kind of see slowly lifting it. Does it look like it's balanced properly? If not, just set it back down slowly and adjust where you're picking up that load. In this case, we chose to go with steel offloading service, so the manufacturer actually did the offloading for us. But as you can see, we use a forklift a lot of times. Some people, if the loads aren't very heavy or if they have big enough skid steers or a tractor, they can offload with that equipment there and save some money as well. So that's just another option. Behind it, we also have our stack of trims. Variety of trims in this job that are required. There's some soffits, some corners, base. There's a big variety of trims that are needed on every building. When you're inventorying, just go through. You're going to have to actually open up all of the packages to properly inventory it, and again use our material list to inventory against what you see on the ground. Make sure there's no damage, make sure that the quantities are there, and check them off as you go through. Our list, our MTO or our material takeoff, will show an image of every single trim that you should have. It should list the color, the length, and the quantity. So make sure that you are following that material list and making sure you have everything you need before you need to use it, because the last thing we want is you to get to that point in the building process and you don't have what you need. The other thing we'll notice here is there's stickers that are on the actual trim and stacks of steel themselves. If we look, for instance, here, we got a corner trim in this case, and it will tell us that we have 4 pieces of trim that are 14'6" long. Again, I always look to see, is the wrapping, does it look like it's really been damaged in any way? Does it all look undisturbed? I would recommend opening up the bundle and inspecting carefully. If you're going to be storing it for a long time outside, you'll need to wrap a tarp over it or something to protect it from the elements. In this case, we have it stored inside, so it's out of the weather and shouldn't really be any problem. We can just snip that open, count the ends of each panel, make sure it matches our material takeoff list, and move on down to the next item. Looking at our wainscot panels here, I'm looking at our takeoff list, and it says that we should have 32 of these panels that are 3 foot 10.5 inches in light gray. So I'm going to ignore that top panel here that is the cover sheet, because that's just extra. One quick tip on cover sheets: if you plan on pre-drilling your steel, use that cover sheet as your template sheet so that you can do, say, 5 at a time. Put your template cover sheet on top, drill through those 5 panels, and then you're ready to install them. It really makes it easy. But just another tip of counting, I just typically go 1 at a time, and you can either lift them up if they're not very big, count them, going through the list. It can get heavy over a large stack, but just going through them kind of 1 by 1 and counting. Otherwise, you can flip to something sharp, and you can typically just if you carefully look at the edges, you can count each panel as you go down and confirm that it matches what you're expecting again on your material takeoff list. The last thing there is if something doesn't match up or if something gets damaged or is the incorrect quantity, just let your project coordinator know, and they'll get with you to fix anything that gets either damaged or seems to be the wrong quantity resolved. We'll get it out to you as fast as possible. And that's what I have for you on steel. Thanks.